Hi guys, this is Mrs. Rutan. This is a little bit of advice and ideas and generating thoughts for the final assessment for Pride and Prejudice. You guys will be finishing Volume 3 by the end of this week. We'll have some online seminar. You can either do the Zoom face-to-face seminar, which is more verbal, or you can elect to do the written seminar that is going to be on Google Classroom. What I'd like to do is talk a little bit about the letter writing project and hopefully give you guys some ideas. This is a brand new project. I've never done this before because I've never taught Pride and Prejudice, but this is going to kind of overview the entire reading or your experience with Pride and Prejudice. I want you to use a letter because the letter format, it can be short, it can be concise. It's also very reminiscent of what we read with Darcy and Elizabeth and Jane and even Mr. Collins in Pride and Prejudice. So just think about what is a letter, how do letters look, how do they structure. For the description, you're going to write a letter to a character or Miss Austen or whoever you want to. It's your audience choice. You're going to reflect and analyze what you learned from Pride and Prejudice. Your letter could be very critical, like you're critiquing and kind of razzing somebody. You could also praise and acknowledge, or you could be more scholarly and just kind of overview in general. A lot of students, based on the Zoom seminar, were talking about doing Miss Austen. Some kids were talking about doing an alternative character, like you could write to Elizabeth and just say, I'm glad you finally learned not to be proud and prejudiced. You could do a parody letter to Mr. Collins and just talk about, you taught me how shallow people can be when they think they have money. You could write it to me as your teacher, or you could even write it to a future AP kid or a future AP student who's about to embark on reading Pride and Prejudice. It's up to you who your audience is, and it's also up to you what you want to talk about. I personally think that the structure that Mr. Darcy used is kind of the structure that I think could work for you. These are a couple resources just to get you thinking a little bit more about letter writing. But on the back of this handout is discussion about pick your audience and what your insight's going to be, and think about your structure. And like I said, I think in Mr. Darcy's letter, he basically has two things he talks about. And I like that model. I think two things is a nice structure. I think the letter will be long enough but not overwhelming. It also kind of reminds me of the Q1, 2, and 3 structure, where you're kind of not doing a 5-paragraph essay, but you're still giving me four. You're still giving me 4 nice paragraphs or 2 really nice argument paragraphs or commentary and evidence paragraphs. So I think that that could be a really nice structure. So you're going to write your letter. You're going to talk about what you learned. Definitely use evidence and quotes. Think about vocab. The word wall words are posted here off of that Google Doc. Style and voice. Be playful. I want you to enjoy this letter. It's a little bit more informal. I statements are perfectly fine because it's your reflection and your insight in a letter format. And then really think about teaching me something new or interesting. It could be something you learned via seminar. It could be something you just have been thinking about throughout the book. This example is not fantastic, but I did organize an outline. I wanted to write to Chief Bromden. My 2 things I wanted to tell him about is I really liked the way he used the mechanical imagery to talk about conformity, and I also really liked the juxtaposition of nature. And so my first paragraph is going to be about that mechanical stuff. My second paragraph is going to be about nature and identity. And then I was, like it says down here, I was just going to close it out with a short paragraph offering my condolences for Mick Murphy's death. Rest in peace, Mick. So on the back is the rubric, 60 points. 5 points for just who you pick and how you set up your overall audience. 15 points for the letter itself, wonderful insights and ideas, just good talks. 10 points for making sure you got some good evidence mixed in there. Lots of sauce quotes are always more successful. Do think about the letter genre. So you'll have an address, dear blank. You might have a date. You'll have a signature at the bottom. You could do a digital signature because this is all online. Think about your diction, syntax, and voice. Just really good composition, great composition skills. And then always just make sure it feels really polished and professional. Read it over and do edits. I will definitely look at drafts. Let me know. Either send me a remind or send it to me email. I've been checking my stuff pretty constantly and thoroughly throughout the day, so I want to give you guys the supports. But I wish you good luck with the Pride and Prejudice letter. I hope it's an interesting and fun assignment, and I hope you enjoy the end of the book. Take care.